Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of Winds of Change Education. In these episodes, I bring different people to find out what actually makes them what they are. What are those qualities that everyone needs to imbibe if they want to follow them? In these few episodes, I'll be bringing the corona warriors, the frontline workers. We are hearing day in and out about the death that this virus is spreading. I want to look behind the curtains to see how are these people coping. Those doctors, those young people who are out there, those nurses, those caregivers, everyone is trying very hard to cope with this pandemic. And today I'll be talking to one such young corona warrior. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, do hit that subscribe button so that every time you can get notified if you ring the bell icon whenever I am uploading a video. So today I have with me a young doctor who completed his education from a government medical college and then secured a seat in the post-graduation studies. He is doing his PG in dermatology. But today we are going to listen to him how he is handling the corona duties. So, welcome, Dr. Ajinkya.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So, Ajinkya, first question that I'll be asking you, why did you decide to become a doctor?
To become a doctor, from the school time, I was a little bit good student. So I decided in 11th, 12th, I took both mathematics and biology in the 11th and 12th standard.
Mm-hmm.
During studies, then I understood that mathematics have little bit calculations. We have to mug up some things, and by this, it will be quite difficult for me to continue this in future.
Mm-hmm.
So I give a focus more on biology. Then I decided to its biology will be good for me because my pattern of study is quite means understand something and then remember it. So biology is for me, it's good for me. And also I have quite medical in my family. As the elder brother is a homeopathic doctor, so he also told me that you are good in studies, so you should try to for MBBS, you will get a seat. Then I studied then and I get a seat for MBBS.
MBBS, Government Medical College. So, Ajinkya, you started by saying that you were little good. Those who are little good don't get a seat in a government medical college. You were very, very good. That's why you got in a government medical college. So, you became a doctor and then you opted for post graduation. Now, what I want to find out in this interview today is that you were doing post graduation in dermatology. You never thought that you had to go and do any such duty. So in 2020, March, February, and when the reports of this virus came, and in March we had all these lockdowns, basically we didn't have much information regarding the virus at that time. What were your thoughts on the virus or the whatever was happening around us during that time?
The news was I got known by this about pandemic from the news media, as everyone, like everyone. I also know about this from the media, from social media, medical newses. So initially I thought this will be like a endemic in few countries only, because like the same incidents has been occurred prior 2 to 3 years back, like Ebola virus and H1N1. So the initial, because in India it's reported 2 to 3 months after the first cases reported in November December 19, and in India the start was reported in around February end. So initially my thoughts was it will be limited in India, or it will not damage to the Indians. But as the cases were increasing in March and April, my thoughts were changed. We thought, as a frontline worker, we know the exact situation on Indian health system. We know the exact what we are lacking. A lot of things we are lacking. So I understood that this situation will be going to be damage a lot to the Indians. The same thing is happening.
Okay. So, like everyone else, you came to know about the pandemic through newspaper. Initial reaction was maybe we will not be so affected, but after a few days, you realize that no, this is a harsh reality, and India is under lockdown because this started spreading. Initially, it was spreading in the metro cities, so it had started spreading. Now, I'll come another 2 months later. That is when Mumbai was reeling under the crisis of not having enough health workers. At that time, you all were asked to go. Now, tell me, how did that happen?
I remember it was around 11th May when I got a call from our head of the department that you have to leave for the Mumbai for COVID duties, because here in the Wardha district at that time were very few cases. We were prepared for pandemic. Our hospital were prepared for pandemic. We have established a separate COVID block, but the cases were not there as this initial was only in the metro cities. So we were prepared, but in the metro cities there was thousands of cases. There was in thousands of cases. So the authority have decided to shift the few doctors from the medical colleges to the Mumbai. So it was our college was the first college who shifted to the doctors from the
who sent doctors to tide the crisis. Yes,
to tide the crisis in the Bombay. So we were almost 45 people were shifted to the Bombay.
So you were asked to go to Bombay to serve. Now this is May month, so just 2-3 months were over, and we still didn't have a lot of information regarding this virus. Slowly informations were coming, how deadly this virus is. Didn't you feel frightened?
No, ma'am. We didn't frighten because we are the health worker. This is a pandemic. So we have to work as if there is a war, the soldiers are working for us. Same thing, it is a health pandemic. We have to work as a front line. That's why we were prepared for this, and we were excited. All the 45 people were excited because this will be a lifetime opportunity for us. This will be remembered for us for a whole life. Everyone will remember us that these people went to the Bombay. They worked there. They served there as a frontline health worker. So we never frightened. Yes, we worried little bit about because the disease was new. The basic knowledge were lacking. Something knowledge were not at properly read from books like other diseases we have read. So we are not frightened, but we are little bit worried what will be exactly our duties and all these things.
So you have a fearless quality about you all. When there is a pandemic, as a doctor, I need to go and serve. That is what was going on in your mind. This is very commendable because doctors are also human beings at the end of the day. Though you all study a lot, get a seat, study a lot more to become a doctor, the essence is that I need to be there, I need to go. So that is very, very commendable in such young people like you, that all of you all had gone. Now take us through that journey. You all went to Mumbai. Definitely you had gone to Mumbai before also. So life was completely different this time. That vibrant city had suddenly come to a halt, and everything was shut down, closed down. How did you all feel reaching there?
As working in our parent institute, we have our seniors, we have our colleagues. So we are little bit, we are not worried because this is our home ground. So we can, in a home place, we can work as we know. But while going to a Bombay, it was totally new place for us. We were posted in a 700 to 800 dedicated COVID hospital. It was totally new for us. The working pattern was different. The people surrounding to us was different. So we were little bit worried about exactly where we will be posted, where will be our stay. Otherwise, for work, we were not frightened. We have to face. We are ready to work where we have posted.
So work was not a problem. You were ready to work. Only you were wondering where will you get posted? What will it be? So you were posted in a 700-800 bed dedicated COVID hospital. And what was your day like?
Our day, like after reaching to the Bombay, we were given a duty schedule. We were posted in a hospital. Then we have given a duty schedule around 6 to 8 hours per day. We have duty around to 6 to 8 hours. Then after completing duty in the morning, we have duty schedule. Then go to duty, come to the stay or the hotels. Then again next day we have to go to the duties.
Okay.
So this was only scheduled at duty and hotel.
Go do your duty, come back to the hotel. This was for, I think so, two reasons. One, because you were working in a COVID hospital, you were maintaining, though you all were sanitizing yourself and all, but still you wanted to stay separate so that you don't go and spread the virus.
We are healthcare worker. Though we don't have even symptoms, but we are the asymptomatic carriers. So it will spread more to the people. It may be as a carrier. So we have to take care of that also. So that's why we are not leaving our hotels, or we are not, other than hospital and hotel, we are not going somewhere.
You are not going anywhere else. You isolated yourself from everything. Okay. Now, wearing the PPE kit was definitely an experience by itself. How was your experience?
First time I wear a PPE kit in Bombay, in that hospital. Almost I sweat around 2 to 3 liters of sweat I there, because my clothes were totally wet due to the sweating. That experience was too much difficult, because initially I thought, how will I survive this for 15 days or 20 days for further? So it was quite difficult. We had dehydrated our pulse. Every time we wear this PPE kit, we get dehydrated. Our pulse get reached to around normal, which is normally 70 around, which reaches to the end of the duty around 120, 100 to 120. Even some of us get fainted during these duties, but still we are ready to serve, because we know we have to do this one. We have to serve for the people, because if I denied, it will not. No one will become front. So I have to work for this. So everyone was doing this one.
So first time you wore the PPE kit, obviously in a place like India where it is so hot and humid in the month of May, everywhere it is hot, especially Mumbai, it has a very humid climate, and there wearing PPE kit when you are sweating so much, your pulse is racing, you're feeling dehydrated, obviously somewhere down you start thinking how to take care of yourself. First thing that comes to your mind, how to take care, because next day you have to come and work again. So what did you all do to take care of your health?
To take care of myself, I take care with after every duties, I hydrate myself with water and electrolyte, then keep a proper diet. In the diet, I properly kept a citrus fruits and all these things. So proper diet, then hydration maintained with electrolytes and water, and proper sleep, rest. It was this was the basic thing I have done. Then other things is that we kept social distancing and followed all the rules, COVID pandemic rules, that social distancing, sanitization, and keeping the mask everywhere, wearing a mask everywhere. So these were keeping us healthy and properly, because we know we are in the new place. If I get sick, if I get infected, my family is not with me, or with my colleagues maybe also get infected because of me. So every time we have to take care of this thing.
So you went there to serve others, but first thing that you took care that you did not fall sick. Though wearing a PPE kit for those 8 hours is difficult, what you did was you managed to hydrate yourself, maintain yourself with food, with sleep, and a very dedicated, disciplined life, so that every single morning you could go and serve. Yes. That was what you were doing. Now, after you finished your duty there, when you came back, what experience did you carry with you? What did you feel what did you learn from that experience?
After completing duty there, we experienced a lot, because here the patients cases were very few. So it was lifetime experience for us. We worked there. Many of us new colleagues. We have made new colleagues for there. So it was a nice experience, and it was a lifetime experience. So we learn a lot of things. We then this the Bombay protocol we discuss here this protocol with our professor that we have this was a protocol for them.
How
They
it
were
was.
they were doing this treatment, they were following this treatment, or their management working like this one. So we discuss here with our colleagues or with our professors, so that we can, if the patient increases or reports patient increases here, so we can be prepared for that.
So you were exchanging information regarding what you all have done there, what you could have done there. Now tell me, what are those qualities which make a good doctor?
To be a good doctor, I have means not only me. I have observed a lot of my seniors, my professors, my colleagues. So to be a good doctor, first quality should be you should be a good listener. You should be a good. You should have proper patience, because patient will tell you everything. You have seen a patient. You can diagnose a patient within 5 minutes. But it's not for us. It's for us routine. But for a patient, it is not his routine. So he will tell everything about that. To be a good doctor, you have to listen proper patiently. You have to calmly listen everything, so that we can take a proper history and we can understand him. So it will decrease the gap between patient and doctors.
So as you have rightly said, listening skill and patience, it's very, very important, because for you are doing it on a regular basis. You might be seeing the same disease over and over and over again, but the person who has come, for them it is the first time, so they want to tell you what is it. And I think so doctor who listens carefully, half the mental problem goes there, that very trust develops, that the doctor heard me out, that trust develops. Okay, what is the next point?
Next one is to be a doctor should be sincere in his work, because there is no shortcut for any treatment or any to cure any disease. So for his work, he should be sincere in his work. It's not only for a doctor, a medical profession, for all the profession it's applicable. So to be a sincere in his work, it will be always give a good results. Without, if you are not sincere in your work, you will not get a good results. So for us to be a sincere, the patient care should be properly given or not. This such thing will help a lot for a good doctor.
So being sincere, I think so this will be across all fields. If you're sincere in your work, you will definitely get success at a better rate. If you want to be successful, you have to be sincere towards your work, and especially for medical, yes, because for you every day counts. When you prescribe some medicine, every single day you need to check, because every body reacts differently, and you need to keep track of what is happening, how it is happening, and how you need to adjust the dose of medicine and all. So for you, sincerity definitely is high on the list. Yes, what next?
To be a good doctor, you should have you should have good communication skill, because the communication skill decrease the gap between patient and doctors. It will develop a proper rapport between patient and doctor. If because good communication can help to clear his doubts, because patient comes with a lot of basic doubts. So good communication skill will clear their doubts. Also, if children come with me, so I should not be direct strict to him. We should be like a children. We should be speak him like a child. If any adult or any female come with, we should have a good communication skill, so that they it creates a trust. As you said, it creates a trust between us.
So communication skill
will be there.
Yes, communication skill helps you to explain to the patient what you want to do or what you are prescribing, and to understand, to help that patient understand what you are doing. Yes. And of course, the communication has to be according to the patient. If a child is small, it has to be according to what the child understands when you are explaining. If it is someone who is an adult, the language will definitely be different. Examples will be different, or what you are instructing will be different. Yes, communication skill is definitely a very, very important skill. What else?
To be a good doctor, you should have proper observation skills. To be a day routine observation should be there. Like if I am at home, a housewife is working, so we know he as a dermatologist. I know she is exposed to the caustic sodas, then spices. So I know the it will be one of the cause for hand eczema her. Then if farmer comes with a different complaints, I know his type of works. I have observed the farmers. So good observation in day routine, day to day life, it will be always helpful for me to be a practice, for any doctor to be a practice, because he came with he knows that his exposure to this one. Farmer is exposed to the pesticides, is exposed to the grass. All these things will always help in his practice. So good observation skills should be there.
Because when a person comes, if you observe carefully, you will know, you can relate to what might be the cause of the disease, and then accordingly you can take the history and find out what exactly is the problem. And with that observation, you can deduce much faster. Yes. Okay.
Then
yes,
to be a doctor, you have to be a lifetime student, because medical field is one of the toughest profession, and it always get upgraded every time. And this today's era of internet, Google and WhatsApp forwards, this will always make a doctor in trouble, because patient come with these forwarded and patient read with this Google search, when tells the doctor that this is according to Google, this one is I have read from internet, I have WhatsApp forwards, I have read there, you are not properly giving treatment and all this. So to avoid such trouble, we have to be updated. We have to take our knowledge updated. Not only if I have passed MBBS, I have passed PG, so I know. If I am become a lecturer, it's not like that I have done everything, so I know everything. No, I have to keep update my knowledge. So that's why to be a good doctor, you have to be a student for lifetime. You have to learn everything. You have to keep your knowledge updated. For a good doctor, it should be.
It's very true, because nowadays we have a lot of knowledge, but we need to know where that knowledge, if there is some forward or somewhere we are searching and coming, it becomes a little difficult for the doctor. But the doctor needs to update. Like this pandemic has taught you that you need to keep on learning every single day. Every single day new research is coming out, not only during this pandemic but after that also. Your subject will be ever expanding. Always there is some new research, there's some new things that are coming up, and you need to learn. So you need to be a lifelong learner. Yes, that's very, very important, to become a lifelong learner. But for a doctor, yes, it's definitely very important. But for human being as such, we all need to be a lifelong learner, that we will be learning a lot more and becoming better versions of ourselves every single time. Yes, that is one very good thing that you have said, become a lifelong learner. Now, you have done 15 days of COVID duty, 15-20 days of COVID duty you did, and then you came back here. At that time, the hospital you were working were not having too many patients. But slowly, the patients increased, and at present, you are still working in a COVID ward.
Yes.
Now, tell me, what is it like working in a COVID ward? What are the difficulties that you face?
Difficulties like initially in first wave or in initial days, that COVID was mainly affected the people with elderly people or people with higher with comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, or chronic kidney disease. These patients were this one. But nowadays in second wave, the younger patients are affected as well. Younger patients are also affected. So this makes it more difficult for us, because our Indian population is younger one. If we are affecting younger populations around the 40s and 45s without any difficult without any comorbidities. Such patients are affected. This makes us more difficult because these are they are younger patients.
Younger
So these are
population.
yes.
So
This one
first
is
wave,
quite difficult.
yes, first wave saw that more elder population with comorbidity, they were in trouble. But the second wave, the younger population without comorbidity, they were also facing a lot of trouble, and that is very difficult for you all to treat
Manage.
them, to manage them. Yes, yes. uh, One thing that when you see all these patients, like they are all young, you are also a young person, you're a doctor, but still you're a young person. When you see such patients, they are affected, they're shifted to ICUs, some make it, some don't make it. So day in and out, you have to see death at a very close quarter. How do you take care of your mental health?
To take care of our mental health, we have to meditate, or we are doing listening or music, or maintaining a daily exercise in the morning, so that we get a to relieve the mental pressure. We are listening to music, doing a meditation, and in the morning we are doing daily routine exercise. Will always keep you, not only this in pandemic time, for lifetime it will be always helpful. 30 40 minute exercise will always make you stress free. So I was
So
doing this only for that.
throughout. For physical health, you said that while you were wearing PPE kit, you were hydrating yourself. For mental health, that meditation and daily exercise and daily listening to some music, some calming music, to make you stress free, so that the next day you go again, you can work with 100% dedication. Now, during this COVID times, there must be times where things were really, really difficult. Do you remember any one such incident where you had to do something which was very difficult for you?
Difficulties were both for physically and mentally. In physically, like working in a PP kit for 6 to 8 hours is quite difficult for us because we are dehydrated. We were faint. Even some of my colleagues were get fainted during in PPE kit, and these were quite difficult for us. In mentally, because we are doing our best, we are trying our best to save a life of a person, but still we are losing. Still, the patient if died, so we feel that we are losing a war somewhere. We are losing our war because it's quite mentally stressful to, because we have taken a proper care, we have to given a best treatment, still we are losing patient. So it will create a mental stress for us. Also, it will also creates a mental stress. Also, a young patient, we are counseling to relatives, because the relatives are not allowed inside. If the relatives are with him, so they see their patient daily, they can see the patient in last time. But if the patient is patient has a good bad prognosis, if patient we have to counsel the relative on the telephonic, so it will quite difficult. It makes it quite difficult that you are young patient, but he is not maintaining proper, his oxygen level is dropping, he is not doing well. And after that, we have to also explain the death of a patient. So it is always, it is quite difficult or a stressful condition to explain to any relative. So these are the quite stressful conditions for us.
To explain a death is very, very difficult. And as you had said, in the first wave, when it was older people who were dying, still people accepted it. Yes. But younger people, they are maybe the breadwinner of the family. Maybe they are the only one who is taking care of the family. There might be parents, grandparents along with the person. So explaining to them about this death becomes very, very stressful, very, very difficult, definitely. So day in and out, when you have to go for your work, there are so many things you have to keep in mind. You have to keep in mind that your mental health has to be best, so that you can serve 100%. Your physical condition has to be good, so that you can take up that duty for 8 hours and still be ready to go do the next 8 hours next day. And the extra pressure of when someone doesn't survive, one, your feeling as a doctor that I couldn't help, and second, to explain to the relatives that the person is no more. All these pressure build up. Still you love being a doctor?
Yes, still I love being a doctor. Mhm. Because
Still you
this
love
is
being.
our, yes, this is our profession. We have to face some difficulties, but we can't lose our hopes. So I know this will, this pandemic will be over very soon or in few months. After
Mhm.
that, we have routine life. So
Okay.
this is a war. It is a bad, like a war situation or battle situation.
We
We will
need to go.
somewhere, we will, yes, somewhere we will be losing, but at the end we know we will in. Obviously, we will win this war. We will
Definitely.
come.
You're losing
Yes,
some patients. There are many patients who are getting well and going back home.
yes,
So that is a win for you all, that you could
yes,
save even someone who is really sick. You can make through, and with your treatment, and then you feel good that you could save a life. That high is of course there, as is the sadness of losing someone, but there are many people who are getting well, and that gives you the satisfaction of
yes.
going and doing your duty sincerely with dedication. Definitely. So now let's have some real we were talking, all heavy talks were going on. So let's talk something really simple. In this corona time, some silly question that was asked to you.
The silly question asked to me is that people still ask, this COVID situation is really, this COVID is COVID is there or not? Yeah, some
COVID
news
है कि
creators.
नहीं?
Yes, some people ask me, COVID सच में है क्या? या
सच
कि कोई बस fake news है क्या? This one is a silly question because we are seeing the patients.
में.
All the news channels are telling this one. Still, patient ask us, that COVID सच में है क्या?
सच में
This is
है.
quite serious. Yes, this is quite serious
Okay.
question for
The
me.
pandemic will get over. Someday or the other, it will get over. We are all hoping, praying, wishing that it gets over sooner. What will you do after the pandemic is over?
After pandemic is over, I will travel somewhere because since last I love traveling. Since
Mhm.
last 4 to 5 years, I didn't go anywhere. So
You had your
travel with,
MBBS, you had your
yes,
MBBS final exams, then your
yes,
internship, then your preparation for your
preparation,
PG. So you
PG,
couldn't go anywhere.
in everywhere. So first I will go with travel with my friends or family. I will
Mhm.
go for
So
somewhere,
first thing you will do is you will travel somewhere, any place. And
any place.
yes, it is true that when we have something, we don't, value it that much. Like
Yeah,
when everything was open and we could travel here and there, we didn't think of traveling so much. As when we were told to stay at home, then that
yeah,
desire to
yes.
travel is much
That is
stronger,
much
that once it
stronger.
gets over we will go out somewhere, once it gets
Yes,
over we will be traveling outside. Yes, so you will
yes,
be traveling. Very good. It was very interesting to hear how you are working during this COVID. Hats off to your dedication, to all the doctors out there, not only you, all the doctors out there, that they're doing their level best in spite of whatever situation is there. They're doing their level best and
yes.
helping, making sure that we get the best of what we have. So it was a lovely conversation. Thank you so much, Ajinkya. If you have come till the end of this episode, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and press that bell icon if you want to get the latest notification whenever I upload a video. So thank you, Ajinkya, so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.